definition is it's a fraternal organization, and it's based on the brotherhood of man and the fraternalism of a fraternity. It's just a body of men that have gotten together and formed an association which has a history. Mm-hmm. It's amazing to me that something that has lasted as long as Masonry has a history clouded, because we really don't know where it came from.
No.
And, you know, we can say it started from the guilds, and we can say, you hear stories about it starting from the building of Solomon's temple, and a lot of the things that people don't understand, you can say to them, were there any lodges in King Solomon's time and during the building of the temple? And there was. They say there was 7,000 or 8,000 lodges in the temple site. But all these things are clouded.
Nobody really knows.
No, and it's better you don't know, because as a result, you can't focus a particular finger and say that's where it originated. It makes it better. It makes it better because something that you can say that's where it started from, then you can criticize the person who started it, you know? Maybe he had something that you didn't particularly like him. But with the way we are, it's all over the world. It has to be something that's, to my way of thinking, that is just done good all over.
Well, it became known public in England in 1733.
Yes, when the building of the cathedral.
When 4 lodges got together and formed the Grand Lodge of England. And
after they
1717, I'm sorry.
Right, but that was after the building stopped, and all these trades that were masons had no place else to go. Rather than let it go to seed, so to speak, they decided to make it more of a social fraternity rather than a working fraternity. And as a result, like you said, in 1777 it started.
1717,
excuse me, and then it just grew.
Okay.
So the other day, I got an invitation to speak in Quincy. There's a Union Lodge, has a sister lodge in England, and they decided to switch visits.
Oh yeah.
So the Union Lodge from here went to England last year, or 2 years ago, and they had a great time over there. So they invited Union Lodge from England to come over here. And they were over here for about a week, maybe a week and a half. And they had an installation. And the members of Union Lodge in England brought their wives with them, and a few of the members brought their children. And they were invited to the installation of Union Lodge. And I went, because I was invited to speak, and during the installation, these women and the children were amazed. You could hear a pin drop, because over in England, nobody is invited to lodge.
Really?
Nobody. The women, they don't even know what goes on in the lodge. They don't know nothing. And the women alluded to it that particular Saturday. At the banquet after, one of the women stood up and said, I think that you should become more public because this is great. Everybody started to clap.
Yeah.
Because not even installations. So it got to be quite a real experience for me. And I spoke to them, and they were so friendly, so outgoing. And the presiding master said when he goes back to England, he's going to petition the Grand Lodge of England to open up the meetings, especially to the installation, so that the women can come. I don't think he's going to make it, but that's beside the point.
Freemasonry in the United States is based on the family unit.
That's right.
Involve the family in Freemasonry. It's good for everyone.
Right.
Now, a couple years ago, I made up a chart. It's here on the wall. It says what Freemasonry, what it is. It's a voluntary association of men with a system of moral conduct. And it's in all 50 states and all the countries in the world.
Yes, this one here particularly caught my eye, Greece.
Greece, yeah. It's in all the countries of the world. And it also, the other side says what it is not.
Right.
It does not solicit members.
Nope.
You have to ask a Mason in order to join the lodge.
Well, we've loosened that up a little lately.
Loosened it up a little, yeah. It is not insurance or benefits society, neither religion nor a creed nor a religious order. It is not a charity organization, but does make charity a duty. It is not organized for profit. It is not a forum for discussion of religion, politics, or partisan affairs.
Far be it.
Now that is something that is strictly forbidden in the lodge.
Right. You can't talk politics, religion. That's right.
Why?
Well, because then you can start an argument.
Okay, this is the whole idea of it. The harmony of the lodge.
It's more important than anything.
So that everybody gets to get along together very well.
That's right.
And there's no fights.
Well, that was the other thing. You know, you can be in a lodge, and you can have an Israeli sitting next to a Palestinian, and a Greek and a Turk, and you know, I mean, I'm third generation here in the United States, and I don't know about the animosity between the Greeks and the Turks. I don't know anything about it. Yeah. But there seems to be well, that's the way with all ethnicities. They have these certain animosities. But when you're in a Blue Lodge or in a lodge meeting, you just simply forget about those.
You leave that out the door.
You leave it out the door. Otherwise, you've got no place being in a lodge.
Right.
Wouldn't it be great, Fran, if religions could adopt the same thing?
Excellent. All over the world.
I think more causes of war have been over religion than anything else in the world.
Yep.
And this is the thing. If the religions would adopt the same philosophy as the Blue Lodge does at their meetings, the world would be a much better place.
We all worship the same God.
That's true.
Well, why not all worship it together?
That's exactly right.
Rather than all individually.
That's exactly right. The misconceptions out there are tremendous, but if they'd only put away those misconceptions for a few minutes and do what really comes natural and see what goes on in a Blue Lodge, they go away a much happier individual.
Yeah.
I believe so. Don't you agree?
Oh, yes, wholeheartedly.
That's great.
Being in it, well, I've been in Mason since 1964. I wasn't active for a long while, but then I became active as, you know, the family grew up so that I had the time for it.
Sure.
And it has been tremendous. So many friends.
Oh. I would never have met you.
I would never have met you.
That's the idea.
I went down to Athens, Georgia several years ago for a Navy supply school, and I visited a lodge down there. They welcomed me as a brother.
That's right.
I was among friends.
Exactly. You know, the thing is, too, here in the United States, we're very lax in a lot of things. We can wear emblems.
Yes.
We can wear rings. Mm-hmm. Over in Europe, they're not allowed to. They're not allowed to wear rings or emblems. There's nothing. You know, and of course you can understand why, because of the persecutions over there of centuries of certain ethnic groups. And you can understand why they develop certain philosophies like that. But again, if they would only open up, they would find that it's just amazing. We hear all kinds of stories.
Oh, yes. I am proud to be a Mason.
Oh, there's nobody prouder than you or me, believe me. We wouldn't be here in front of a television camera thinking about it. And then we have Al, don't we have a fellow behind one of the cameras?
You know, behind one of the cameras here.
Which camera is it, by the way?
Camera one.
Camera one. Is that right there?
Yeah.
He's sticking out his fingers going, what?
He worked with us for a year producing this program. He knew nothing about Freemasonry.
What a guest he would be.
And all of a sudden, one day he says, we were wrapping up the end of a program, he says, okay guys, I've seen enough.
Imagine that.
How do I become a Mason?
That's amazing.
That was the greatest thrill of my life.
Must have been.
Oh,
it
was tremendous.
Who is it?
Paul Joya,
Oh,
the program director.
He's a great guy.
Oh yes, he's the chaplain in our lodge now.
Whoa. How do you figure that, huh?
Oh, well, that was nice. That was a lot of fun.
That's one of the benefits to be derived.
Yeah.
It really is. I think he could probably fill a whole half hour on certain things and why he joined and what he saw, what he feels.
Yeah, probably
makes a big
could.
difference. Of course.
We'll have to get him on the show one of these days.
I think that would be. Would you allow me to be the moderator? I'd love it. He's laughing back there, but he knows. What, didn't you also have Arthur Richardson?
Yes, I've had Arthur Richardson on the show.
He was the district deputy after me.
He was the district deputy,
Yeah.
And right now he's on another camera.
Right. Camera what?
2.
There you go. And didn't you also have another district deputy, Bruce Pratt?
Bruce Pratt was on the program.
I was with.
Wasn't he a master? He was a master then, though, wasn't he?
He was the master, yeah. He's a man that went in a second time for his Blue Lodge. He helped them out.
Yeah.
Because he's done an awful lot in Masonry.
Oh, yes, yes.
He's a good boy. I really like Bruce. And of course, we're all up now for new district deputy.
Yeah.
And everybody's abuzz to find out who that particular individual is.
I got my ideas.
I got my ideas too, but we won't say them right now.
No,
We'll keep it between ourselves. We'll find out.
But if anybody has any questions, ask a Mason.
That's right.
Or call 1-800-882-1020. That is the Grand Lodge.
Explain, that's the Grand Lodge, but explain how it works. Will they bring him into his own area?
Yes, they will. If you call Grand Lodge, 1-800-882-1020, they will call someone in the area where you live.
All right, now let's assume now it's in Brockton, and we have 3 lodges in Brockton. Which lodge gets the benefit of that new man?
The pick of the draw, I guess.
Is it? All right.
I don't think they have any preferences,
Okay.
but you try to join the lodge in your own community.
I would think you would.
Among friends that you know, people that will know you.
Yeah.
Because you go before an investigating committee. They will investigate your character to make sure that you're not a criminal or something like that.
That itself makes you feel good.
Yes.
You know?
And then you will have the 3 degrees.
Right.
The entered apprentice,
Right.
the fellowcraft,
Right.
and the master mason.
Right. Exactly.
And then you can visit any lodge in the world.
Exactly. You're no better a Mason right then and there than you are if you go all the way up to the 33rd.
Right.
That's what people forget. Once you become a Master Mason, a 3rd degree
Yeah.
Master Mason, you will never be a better Mason if you go up the whole ladder. Because the rest of it's all story. The rest of it's all education. The rest of it's all learning things about the fraternity in the distant past.
One of the things that when you first enter the door, go to the door of Freemasonry,
And you know.
they ask, you knock 3 times, and they ask you, where were you first made a Mason?
What's the answer, Fran?
In my heart.
Absolutely.
You are a Mason in your heart before you are made a Mason through the degrees.
That's right. And there's one other thing that I think that you should really, if we should bring across on this program tonight, is that even though my landlord brought me into the Blue Lodge, all those years that I went through the line and did all these things within Masonry, I thought that I was doing it to please him.
Mm-hmm.
And you know something, Fran? It was the wrong way to feel.
Mm.
Because the man, after a while, moved away. He got old. He passed away. What did I do all those things for? For who did I do them for?
For you.
For myself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
To make you feel good.
That's right. I cannot emphasize that more than I can right now to anybody who watches this particular program, that anything you do in Masonry, you do for yourself, to better yourself. You don't do it for any particular individual. If a man sits there and says, I became master because I wanted to become bad, they put me in line, it's not true. Because you don't do it unless you want it.
Yeah.
And anything you do in Masonry, you do for yourself. And I, for one, can never figure out why somebody would not want to go to Blue Lodge. We have a lot of individuals
Yeah, I
like
know
that
it.
too. You know?
Now, well, you mentioned the shrine earlier. Not everyone knows that every Shriner is a Mason.
Right.
Of course, a lot of people have heard of the Shriners and know what they do. There are two processes to get to the shrine. I know you mentioned the York Rite,
Yes.
the Council.
Yeah.
There's also the Scottish Rite.
That's right. Can't forget that.
No.
Because I'm
So-
on both of them.
Yeah, the Scottish Rite will make you a 32nd degree Mason. And in those degrees, they perform a play
Right.
that illustrates a portion of the Masonic teachings or a lesson from the Bible.
Right.
And I saw one last Saturday. And believe me, it is the equal of any Broadway play
Oh yes. Oh yes.
that you could see.
And it's the guys you know.
It's the guys you know, teaching a lesson of Freemasonry.
Can we
Well,
continue this a little longer some other time? Because we could keep on going for hours.
It's been a lot of fun talking about Freemasonry, and it is the greatest thing in the world. And I urge every man of the age of 21 to consider it.
Right. I would do too. You know, it's like the old saying, Uncle Sam wants you.
Yeah.
The Blue Lodge, the Masons want you.
Yeah, yeah.
And regardless of your race, color, or creed, they want you.
Right.
And I think nothing more can be said about that.
Jimmy, thank you for being on our show. I really enjoyed it.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I enjoyed myself.
Oh, yes.
Got a few things to say?
Yeah, okay. We've had a lot of fun talking about it. It is really wonderful.
I think so.
I've met so many friends all over the country. Internet, email.
Oh, that's the other
Masonic
thing we
list.
should have talked about too.
I know it.
Oh, that email is phenomenal.
Yeah, I know it.
Oh,
Well, bye. This is the end of our show.